Just because kids will figure out a way to see the Suicide Squad doesn't mean they'll understand everything they see in the movie. Here are some R-rated or otherwise adult moments in the Suicide Squad that will soar over the heads of younger viewers. Although they're never seen, we are informed that Nazis built Jotunheim after World War II when they came to Corto Maltese seeking asylum and hoping to continue their experiments. Couple this with the eventual reveal of Jotunheim's inner workings, where faceless prisoners are held in obscene conditions, shuffling their feet in cramped cells, and you get a fictional horror reflecting a real one. For an adult, such imagery coupled with the words Nazi brings to mind the most repulsive horrors mankind has ever witnessed, including painful, often deadly experiments on thousands of prisoners without their permission. Of course, none of this involved an enormous starfish from outer space. But as an adult, there's a reason why words like Nazi and experiment carry connotations with such power that a blockbuster filmmaker would invoke them when trying to elicit a sense of repulsion from his audience. So while the superhero subject matter may sometimes be silly, that doesn't make it any less of a good opportunity to engage the young person in your life about the very real horrors that once unfolded here on planet Earth. When an adult hears the very first words spoken in this movie, "Hello, I'm Johnny Cash," perhaps they'll realize they're hearing Folsom Prison Blues, a song the legendary Man in Black performed to a crowd of inmates at Folsom State Prison in 1968. Against the wishes of many, this performance and the groundbreaking live album that came with it gave inmates hope and made them feel like human beings, something very important to Cash, who was a hero to the working class, downtrodden and incarcerated until the day he died. Appropriately, the song plays over footage of Savant sitting in prison, occupying himself with a bouncy ball. In the same vein, when an adult hears the rousing track People Who Died play over the opening credits, perhaps they'll realize that this is a song by poet and punk rocker Jim Carroll, and that all of those people in the song really did die in the ways being described. For greater detail about many of those unfortunate acquaintances of Carroll, born to a working-class Irish family in New York's Lower East Side, perhaps the adult may have read Carroll's autobiographical book The Basketball Diaries, or at least seen the 1995 Leonardo DiCaprio film of the same name that starred Leo as Carroll.
I need some money real bad.
From Louis Prima to Pixies, the Suicide Squad soundtrack is as catchy as it is a gateway to multiple generations, and the multiple subtexts these musicians bring to mind. James Gunn is a master at using pop music to give added dimension to a scene, and he selects most of his soundtracks while he writes his films, creating scenes around the feelings and associations that a song carries with it. To a younger person, maybe the song just sounds cool. So this is your chance to talk about music old and new, and the more they know about these musicians, the more they'll appreciate the film next time they watch it. A couple decades back, an urban legend spread from coast to coast about a certain movie star who will not be named here, you have search engines, who supposedly had a thing for gerbils. It's not true, but it evidently captured the imagination of an entire generation, many of whom probably still think there's something to it. Flash forward to today, and you have an antagonistic dynamic in the Suicide Squad between Ratcatcher 2 and the Thinker. In one contentious moment, she asks him, "Do you want a dozen angry rodents crawling up your ass?" To which he responds, "My answer may not be what you expect." The exchange seems more likely to get a laugh from an adult than a teen, possibly because that adult remembers the pre-internet days when the urban legend was spread from locker room to locker room. It also perhaps reflects a generational divide, with an older person more likely to laugh at another's perceived kink, while younger generations are probably more apt to expect anything. So teens, tolerate your mom and dad if they laugh at that joke. There's a whole history behind it. Adults, don't be upset if your teen says you shouldn't laugh at such things. Tolerance and acceptance are never bad instincts to possess, even when we're simply overanalyzing a throwaway line about the sex life of a fictional evil genius with wires and metal sticking out of his head. To a younger person, Viola Davis's Amanda Waller is a quasi-bad guy who deploys Task Force X on their mission and blows up their heads if they try to escape. But if you're an adult who knows anything about the source material, you're aware that Waller has been the driving force of this modern Suicide Squad since the late 80s, and is far and away its most morally complex character. In 1987's Secret Origins issue 14, we learn that Waller grew up in Chicago, had 5 kids, and then watched her son killed, daughter attacked, and husband slaughtered while trying to avenge them. When the police refused to help, she had the wherewithal and determination to go back to school, use her education to land a job with the federal government, and then embark on a mission to make sure metahumans would never hurt civilians again. Kinda gives you pause when you consider that Waller being knocked unconscious by her mutineering staff is played as a triumphant moment worth cheering. Want to engage a young person in your life in a conversation about the shortcomings of law enforcement, the desire to take the law into your own hands, and why that can make the problem worse, the slippery slope of vengeance, the moral implications of treating prisoners as something less than human beings with rights? Amanda Waller is your gateway. While it's easy to watch a superhero film and say Batman is a vigilante isn't that cool, it's a lot more important and hopefully rewarding to delve into the moral complexities of such characters. Sooner or later, every kid needs to learn that most people aren't good or bad, but instead dwell in the gray area between.
I'm a superhero!
Perhaps no superhero series depicts characters in that gray area better than the Suicide Squad movies, where villains are heroes, heroic figures hide their darkest secrets, and the monster at the end of the movie is a sullen interstellar captive subjected to decades of rendition. Who knows, such a discussion might not just be good parenting, but it might also give them a deeper appreciation for the movie. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about the Suicide Squad are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.